To the Pillar of Bone do we travel today into the heart of Greenskins country with Drycha the Briarmaven of Woe, the newest FLC Lord coming in Total War Warhammer 2. And the dance is about to begin, because we're looking at a War Dancer core anchored by a Glade Captain and her majestic new mount, a great stag of Athel Lauren. But Bladesingers are the focus, and with their ridiculous stat line and magical attacks, they can slaughter hordes of infantry without batting an eye or breaking a sweat. Yet the Warlord of 8 Peaks is on his home turf, and with his sidekick Goblin and a swarm of angry mushrooms at his beck and call, the boys are spoiling for a fight. See how Drycha does when she no longer has a forest to protect her. Not the Drycha Hamaddrath mech suit we've come to expect from Age of Sigmar, but still the malevolent genocidal murder tree she's always been. And her tabletop rules have been faithfully recreated, with fanatical resolve increasing her killing power as she accumulates more and more damage. The closer to death she is, the more dangerous she becomes. Gets up to 83 melee attack and close to 500 weapon strength when she drops low. She's a Lore of Shadows caster, kitted out with the standard Miasma, Enfeebling Foe, and Pendulum, and Roused Wrath allows her to summon Dryads, which is a great tool for flanking infantry or running down archers. She's a frenzied freak of the forest. Not much else to say about her other than that. Stay out of her way or she'll Shang Tsung your soul into oblivion, and she's brought the forest with her. Treekin lost 5 melee defense but gained 28 weapon strength, which means it can actually kill things now. Very nice support unit for the front line, but I think the real stars of the show today are the Bladesingers themselves. New in the Twisted and the Twilight, and already they're making a name for themselves. They are amazing in pure melee combat, some of the best infantry duelists in Mortal Empires, and they can activate a dance to trade some of their AP for higher base weapon damage against lightly armored troops. But they have some clear-cut weaknesses we'll discuss as well. Dryads for the front line, Glade Riders for a bit of skirmish presence, and a Glade Captain on a glorious stag will anchor everything. Dance of Loak and Deadly Onslaught, combined with a long-range bow and 35 bonus versus large, means she is a versatile, dual-threat hero with a number of ways to impact the battlefield. Super cool looking mount. Love the look of this thing. But she's gonna have her work cut out for her. For the Greenskins, the Warlord of 8 Peaks is making a show of force, ever the trusty, dependable WA battery he has always been. Got an Orc Shaman with AoE Go, Fists of Gork, and Brain Bursta. Brain Bursta especially being a very good spell against the Wood Elves because of their low armor, and a horde of Gobos, Big Guns, Sneaky Stabbers, and cheap archers, with a sprinkling of Squig support. So for the last 5 months or so, this has been a rough matchup for the Wood Elves, really since the Warden and the Paunch dropped. Stone Trolls have been a big part of that. They're your answer to Forest Dragons and Tree Men and Dryads and probably Zotes as well. But you can skip them and go for a wider, more skirmish-focused build, and that's what's happening here. Bladesingers have incredible infantry killing potential, but they're also hard countered by some of the cheapest units in the game. And unlike their weaker War Dancer cousins, they do not have a dance that gives them missile resistance, so they are extremely susceptible to magic damage and skirmish fire as well, which can be a massive problem against the Greenskins because they can bring Doom Divers to wreck your elite tier infantry, they can swarm the field with cheap archers and missile cav, and they can basically pincushion the crap out of our new ginger friends. If you're not fighting Black Orcs, I do recommend activating Whirling Death on each and every Bladesinger you bring, because it increases their base weapon strength by 40%, which is perfect for slicing through thousands of little Groby filth. Wood Elves don't have a lot of backline pressure here, though. They can't flank and run everything down with Wild Riders, but they can buzzsaw right through the center and hunt down archers with Dryads and the Bladesingers, and with a little help from Drycha and some penumbral pendulums ripping through their front ranks as well. So the counter for the Greenskins is cycle charge the Bladesingers with Squigs and shoot them to death. You're not going to be able to win a pure melee grind. Now, Roused Wrath in particular for Drycha, I think is going to be a very nice ability against the Greenskins. Being able to make like a tree and branch with a bunch of fear-causing Dryads in somebody's back line is incredibly useful. And the Bladesingers with Whirling Death popped and 50 weapon strength, 50, will straight up dunk on pretty much any Greenskins infantry unit in the game. If they're facing Savage Orcs, that Warpaint physical resist will mean absolutely nothing. So, already, the Dryads summoned from Roused Wrath, and they can go pretty much anywhere they want. They could flank the Greenskins infantry line, or, more importantly, push into the rear and chase off all the archers and the rusty heirs, making sure that those cannot fire into the Bladesingers. Zoning them out, going to be pretty important in this battle. Some Forest Goblin Spider Riders over on the right flank, engaging the Hagbane tip Glade Riders, and the Stag also into melee with a bunch of Big Guns. So far, just a melee grind at the moment, which is what the Wood Elves want. Not normally what they want, but if you're spending 4,000 plus on a Bladesinger core, you best believe you should be winning in the trenches. And the Greenskins have countered nicely with some focus fire from their archers and brain bursters from the Orc Shaman, which is why a few of the Bladesingers are already down to half HP. It's a situation where using your cav defensively is absolutely the right call for the Orcs and Gobos. The only way to kill the redheads is to shoot them, and the only way to shoot them is to make sure your archers aren't getting decapitated by their dual swords. Archers are the core for the Greenskins, so as the Gobos are thrown in the blender, some cav reserves would really help tie up the Bladesingers and maybe give those archers some more time to shoot, while the Glade Captain gets stuck in with some big guns. Not really the best engagement for her. Their bonus for slowage will make that a bit unpleasant for the Great Stag, but she can bleed models off them as well, and she'll give as good as she gets, especially with some support from the Glade Riders firing in from the flank. But yeah, she will want to escape from that situation, especially once Wa is active and popped. Drycha has moved over to the right flank. Bladesingers have just completely buzzsawed their way through the center, and they are now running free, running rampant in the back line. Pendulum gonna miss completely from Drycha, just barely kind of skimming along the edge of those formations. Not quite clipping them and ripping them apart. Could have done a lot of damage, but a little bit of a miscast there. And some Glade Riders firing into the center where Skarsnik has made his home. So Drycha is definitely overwhelming the Greenskins' left flank at the moment. This malevolent Branch Wraith showing everybody who's boss in CQB, and her angry tendrils and glowing persona. She's just a nice chick. She really is. So are the Bladesingers, teaching Greenskins how to dance into the rusty airs, letting the rhythm flow and the beats drop every time those dual swords bite deep into mushroom flesh. Big play brewing in the back of the map. Looks like Drycha Squigs and Forest Goblin Spider Riders plunging headfirst into combat, but the Glade Riders are there to intercept and pin them down, while the Azrai Spear War Dancers scream in from behind. And that might make for a nice little sandwich. Totally worth it to lose one Glade Rider for the price of 2 cav units, especially because Drycha Squigs represent a large threat to that Bladesinger core. Great Stag and the Glade Captain are fine, managed to extricate themselves from that iffy situation with the big guns, and the Bladesingers, with their War Dance popped, have made it so far into the Greenskins backline, they're basically on another map at this point. They have completely zoned out to Rusty Airs and are doing their best to finish them off for good. Great Stag is heading over to help out in the cav fight. Her fear will certainly be beneficial, while Drycha and the Treekin fighting back to back with those most hated Azrai against a bunch of big guns with Fists of Gork popped on them. Means they have plus 24 melee attack, plus 24 melee defense, and magical attacks, which means they will do well against Treekin. But the Warlord's boys are running for the hills. The Regiment of Renown Gobbo unit is not really enjoying combat at the moment, and I don't blame them. The Bladesingers are just so good at killing Goblin infantry. It's kind of insane. Drycha continues to rend and tear and destroy anyone who gets in her way, and now she has her eyes set on the Orc Shaman himself. The Treekin have done a great job of holding the line so far, but might not be able to do it for too much longer if Fists of Gork big guns continue swarming their way. Nasty Skulkers have pinned down the Bladesingers who made it into the rear, and now the Squigs are here to feast, and that is a bad engagement. That is how you can crush even elite tier Wood Elf infantry. They are not tanky in any stretch of the imagination, in any way, shape, or form. They will get run over if you cycle charge and pin them down with chaff and shoot them to death. So this is working out pretty well. Bladesingers will rout after that charge. Well played from the Greenskins there. I believe this is the third Wa popping off, so Skarsnik's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Just stay alive with that big HP pool with Gobla by his side and give the entire army melee attack and weapon damage. That's what he's good for. That's what he's known for. But Drycha is hunting the Orc Shaman, and the Great Stag is here too. The thing has 90 speed. Orc Shaman, even on a boar, not going to be able to escape that situation, but on foot he has even less of a chance, and some malevolent Dryads awakened from the wood. Creeping, crawling, coming in for a rear charge, tying down the Squigs, tying down the Orc Shaman, and if that caster goes down, if the Orc Shaman is laid low, and they lose all their magic potential, things could get really rough for the Greenskins. They certainly outnumber what remains of the Azrai forces, but the Whirling Death Bladesingers have carved a path of ruinous destruction through the ranks of the Gobbos here, and there's a lot of fear still left on the field. There is no terror, which might be a problem for the Wood Elves come late game. Terror is so strong against the Greenskins, especially against Goblins, so not having that might be a problem. But so far, the Dryad summons from Roused to Wrath have been fantastic. And there came Skarsnik's Prada, routing off some of the Bladesingers, trying to kill some of the Treekin, and get rid of some of the mass and HP that will still be kind of a nightmare for the Greenskins to cut through. And they have lost a lot of their infantry. The rout is kicking in. Some of these units will return to the fold, and they have unbreakable Goblin infantry in the middle of that with the 8-peak loonies. But they're running out of steam at the moment, and if their caster dies, if the Great Stag is able to hit that killing blow, it might be the nail in the coffin for the Green Tide. They don't have a lot over here. You can see Forest Goblin Spider Riders coming in to support, but the Great Stag is just so versatile. There's no way they're going to be able to deal with that Stag all by themselves. Yeah, they have the Poison Ward save in melee, but that's not enough. Fear will kick in for them. They just shattered. Balance bar in favor of the Wood Elves now. Skarsnik completely surrounded and about to lose all support he might have otherwise had. Drycha beating on him. Treekin beating on him. The forest is roused to wrath, and it's about to get nasty for the Warlord of 8 Peaks. There is nowhere to go but deep into the ground. Enfeebling foe, taking his dual prowess down to a very embarrassing level. And at this point, it's over for the Greenskins. Looks like the Wood Elves should be able to take it. And a pretty good showing for Drycha in one of her first multiplayer appearances on YouTube ever. She might end up being a pretty decent pick against the Greenskins. Very useful Lord magic. Low probability of being sniped out. I mean, think about like Lords like the Sisters of Twilight on Gwendolyn or Seth and Hard the Forest Dragon. They'll get stomped on by Vindictive Glare magic missile spam and beaten down by stone trolls when they land. But a character like Drycha, with that low profile on foot, it's not an easy thing to smack her around with magic missiles. And that Roused to Wrath summon is so good and tasty for dropping them feet first into hell, ODST style, straight into an opponent's rear, where they have their pick of litter and running down archers and getting rear charges on the foot troops. But those Bladesingers, man, 144, 285, 115. Those counts are inflated because it was a full Gobbo build, but they were Crombopolis Michaeling it up the entire battle. Oh boy, here I go killing again. Just licking their lips. So many mushrooms to slay for them. Personally, I do think Stone Trolls are core against Wood Elves. With their magic and missile resist, I think they're too hard to pass up. They just can't be shot. All the single entities that would pose a threat to them deal magic damage, and they can beat the crap out of anything. And the cheap chariots can also be a huge problem for the Wood Elves to deal with. But a Gobbo build like this one can absolutely work, even against a Bladesinger core. The important thing to do when you're playing multiplayer, any multiplayer battle, is immediately look at the other player's build and diagnose what they need to do to win and what you need to do to win. As soon as you see those 3 Bladesingers and you have a bunch of archers, you know that missile fire is the way to win. So keep the Squigs and the Cav defensive, wait for the Bladesingers to mulch the front ranks, which you know they will, then overextend, and that is when you pounce. You shoot them to death, you cycle charge them once they start threatening the back line, and once those Bladesingers are gone, most of the Wood Elves' killing power is gone with it. Some Fists of Gork can be used to deal with Drycha and the remaining tree spirits, and from there, you can grab a win. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have fun with the rest of the Everchosen, and I am going to disappear into my Batcave. Good night, and good luck.